Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of City of Champions. And I guess because they're up here, we will start with the Minnesota Twins, or Minnesota Timberwolves, I should say. You could see because of the losing streak, that means we didn't get it done this year. We did, however, win 2 championships this year. So we are now up to 6 titles through however many seasons. Is this year 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So we are now up to 8 titles in 10. 8 titles? 6 titles in 10 years. So we need 6 more in the next 9 years. So good progress was made this season. We lost in the... I don't even remember how we lost. Let's look at our schedule. Was it in the semifinals? No, we lost in the... so we took out the Lakers in 5 games, and then we lost to the Grizzlies in the conference semifinals. Yeah, we lost in the conference semifinals to the Grizzlies. So another successful regular season, 58-24, but not a great postseason. Took out the Lakers in 5 and then lost to the Grizz in 7. So if we take a look at our roster, again, led by Ja Morant. Scoring was down a little bit, but I mean, we were okay. I'm not too concerned about it. So, draft. What did we do in the draft? McCleary was our pick a year ago, right? Yeah, it wasn't this first. This wasn't his first year. This was his second year. So McCleary was our first round pick a year ago. I think it was Tyrone Kennedy. Yeah. We didn't move up in the draft, and we had the number 23 overall pick. And we pick up Tyrone Kennedy, who's pretty much garbage. Averaged 2 points, 2 rebounds a game. Doesn't really do anything particularly well. So it was pretty much a nothing draft. We did move on from Bonner. Let me find him in here. Let's do player search. I guess I can't just type in his name, huh? He's a center. I can't remember his first name, unfortunately. So we will go through this way. This is gonna this is gonna take forever if we do it that way. I don't remember who I traded him to, but we traded Bonner, and I believe the return. Let me find it here. Could probably just do it like this, right? Draft picks. We are who are we? We are the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we picked up a Detroit first-round pick in 2033, so a couple years down the road. So let's go to, I believe that was the trade. So if we go to Detroit now, he should be there. Yeah, there he is. And ultimately, nobody wanted to take on the contract. Nobody, like, it was a 4-year, whatever it was, $23, $24 million contract. Nobody wanted that. So I had to find a team that had the cap space, and the Pistons were willing to give up a number 1 pick for him. Now, it's a couple of years before that pick is going to turn into anything, so hopefully the Pistons continue to be bad here for a couple of years. But we traded Josh Bonner, and we turned around then and signed Joel Grays, who was an upgrade pretty much across the board and was about $8 million a year cheaper, $5 to $6 million a year cheaper. Very, very good defensively, good inside scoring, good inside shooting, good scoring, decent enough rebounder. So he put up 11.5 and 8.5. I mean, still probably an overpay, but his defense was what attracted to me to him. He's 27 years old, so he's signed for the next few years at a reasonable contract for a starting center. Morant, again, with a good year, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Adam Gordon had another fantastic season for us. This was an absolute steal of a pickup for us. This is, what, 2 straight 20-point seasons or 3 straight? Yeah, I mean, we picked him up here midway through his 2nd season, and he's been 20 points, 19 points, 23 points, 22 points. So he's been a legit 20-point-a-game scorer for us since we picked him up. Still averaging about 9 rebounds a game. Xavier Brown had another really, really good season for us. as our starting point guard, 16.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6 assists. So our backcourt is just loaded, man. Morant and Brown. To the point where we're going to have to make a move this offseason. We'll get to that here in a minute. We talked about Grays. Adam Holdan was, we signed him to the mid-level exception, and he was fantastic off the bench. Again, great inside shooting, great defensive ability, good offensive rebounding. I don't think I'm going to renounce his rights. I want to see what sort of deal he wants moving forward, and then either sign him or sign and trade. Matt McCleary, still not there for him, but again, he's only 23, still potential 3.5 stars. I suspect he'll end up being a decent overall player when it's all said and done. The scoring's high enough that he should be able to get it done, but he's terrible defensively, and that could cause some issues, as I don't like bad defensive players. Trent Means averaged 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. We are pretty much, we have, I don't want to say we have too much skill in the backcourt, but Morant, Brown, Means, and then Jamal Strong, who is up to 3.5 stars. I mean, he is a fantastic backup both point guard and shooting guard. We could easily run with a 3-man rotation of Morant, Brown, and Jamal Strong, and he's super cheap. So we may end up looking to move Means for a swingman in the offseason. We talked about McCleary. Brad Butler came back. Really bad shooter, but again, he's here for his defense, that 97 defensive ability. We signed him. He wanted I don't know, it was like $10 million or something, but I made him the qualifying offer, and he took it. So we ended up getting him back this year for under $3 million. We signed Cam Reddish to the low-level exception. His best days are behind him. Kennedy, we talked about. Kispert and Milton we signed as just generic, we needed back-of-the-bench guys. So off-season for the Timberwolves is probably going to be the questions we have are what do we do with Trent Means, Matt McCleary, Brad Butler, and Adam Holdan. These are like the 4 guys that I have to. I think McCleary will probably keep another year. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have another scorer. But Means, Holden, and Butler, how can we flip them around to strengthen really what we need, which is a swingman? We're set at center with up front really with Grays and Gordon. We're set in the backcourt with Morant and Brown. So it's really that 3 position. And, maybe McCleary makes that jump this year and we're just focused on the bench. But, yeah, so that's kind of where we are with the Twins, or with the Timberwolves. 58-24. We've won 3 titles with the T-Wolves so far. 3 of our 6 have been with Minnesota. Let's look at one of the teams that we won the title with, shall we? The Minnesota Twins win their 2nd World Series championship under my leadership, I guess, as we defeated the Washington Nationals in the World Series. Playoff tree. You can see we won the division. We finished 102-60, so another 100-win season for us, down from last year where we won 110. But 102-60. We took out the Orioles in 5, the Rangers in 5, and the Nats in 6. If we look at our roster, you can see it looks a little different than what we had last year. I told you that our main target this past offseason was going to be Corbin Burns. We signed him, and he was everything we needed him to be. The ratings have started to drop here a little bit, but we signed him to a 3-year, $30 million contract. So I suspect that this year, obviously this year was fine, but next year I suspect will be okay. And if that last year ends up being a bust, then so be it. But 18-7 with a 3.21 ERA, 227 innings pitched, 254 strikeouts, 8.64. He's very likely to win the AL Cy Young. He was exactly what we needed. We did not re-sign Royce Lewis. His contract demands got really, really high. Ended up signing 5-year, $152 million deal with the Cubs. Looks like he did okay in Chicago. But what we did to fill that void is we traded for Marcelo Meyer. And Meyer was hurt. So very similar to last year where we picked up Khalil Watson. Picked up Marcelo Meyer. He got hurt right at the beginning of the year. He was our starting shortstop for the second half of the season. We traded John Villalba and Kevin Ankers. So wow, he's gotten actually pretty good. Number 16 prospect in baseball. Now, he wasn't that good when we traded him, but that's okay. He's 22 years old, 18 control. We have some pitching depth, so I'm not too terribly concerned, I guess. Wow, he got really good. Oops, I'm going the wrong way here. But we picked up Marcelo Meyer. He put up 2.5 WAR in 80 games. He's our new starting shortstop. So we've got Meyer and Horner still in that middle infield. We brought up Cole Bourbon, stuck him in right field, and he's likely to win the AL Rookie of the Year. Had 80 extra base hits, good for 5.6 WAR. He was phenomenal. Acuna with another just I don't want to look at it this way. We'll look at it a different way. We did make the decision to we moved Andres Moya to first base as Tristan Cassius kind of priced us out. And he had a good year, 25 home runs, 89 RBIs, 2.5 WAR. So we look at the team offensively. Acuna, just another great season, 38 home runs, 100 RBIs. So that's, 3 seasons he's hit 60 and he's hit 135 home runs in 3 years as a Minnesota Twin. Cole Bourbon, we talked about. Ohtani, another 30 and 100 season. Yeah, he wants to come back, but do we have the money now? We potentially do. What does he want? Okay, yeah. So our owner wants us to bring Ohtani back. That's something we can probably do here before we get to free agency. Khalil Watson was terrific. His first full season with us, 16 home runs, 103 runs knocked in. You don't see that very often. Less than 20 home runs and more than 100 RBIs. Played fantastic in the field. He's only 28 years old, and he signed long term. We had to bring in Tim Anderson because Meyer got hurt, and all Anderson did was put up 3.1 WAR. We got him for nothing. We got him for like a nothing prospect, like a couple of minor league two-star pitchers, and he was fine. He played shortstop until Meyer came back. Once Meyer came back, Horner got hurt, so we moved him to second, and it was fine. Jordy Parks, his second full season with us. My power was up, a little bit, but everything else was down a little. Struck out a bunch more. Average was down. Slugging was down, but put up a higher WAR. So maybe it just was maybe offense was just naturally down this year. I don't know. But he's still young, still on a minor league, or not on a minor league, but on a minimum contract. That's the word I'm looking for. Moyer, we talked about. We signed Brady House to a cheap contract, $1.3 million, to be the opposite side of the platoon with Moyer, and he was fine. Put up 106 OPS, 1.1 WAR, plays very good defense. Alex Moreno was a Rule 5 guy, and I love these ratings. The contact is really bad, but the eye and the discipline, he's going to put up, if he hits 230, he'll put up a 400 on-base percentage. He's very good in the outfield. He's got some really good speed. He's number 55 prospect in baseball. He was a Rule 5 guy last year. Looking forward to seeing how he develops. Gomez was fine. We could still use a better catcher. Gomez wasn't terrible. He was very good defensively, but he and Melendez were meh behind the plate. Pitching-wise, our 1-2 punch is as good as anybody else in baseball with Burns and Chase Petty, who has, you look at those last 4 seasons for Petty, 15, 18, 15, and 17. So 33 and 32, that's 55 wins in the last 4 years for Chase Petty. Anywhere between 3 and 4 WAR. He's been awesome. Quaystad, he's been really good, but I think he's about to price himself out here. He's 27 years old. His ARB number is like $9 million or something for a closer, which I'm not going to pay. I think we do need to add another pitcher. We did call up Max Cibrian, the top prospect in baseball, and he was okay. So Burns, Petty, and Cibrian are our top 3 pitchers. We brought in Dalton Ponce at the trade deadline as well for like nothing. Yeah, Tim Appleton, a 1-star, and Pete Eaton, a 2-star, 3-star reliever. And he was really, really good for us. ARB eligible, so still cheap. So, I guess we're okay with Burns, Petty, Ponce, and Cibrian, and then we just need a 4th. And then our bullpen just continues to be really good. Brewster, Silvis. Giolito's contract is up, or I think it's a team option, so we will be declining that. Caden, I mean, we have some players who can move into that 5 spot. I mean, take your pick, right? Woods Richardson, Appleby, Caden Campbell, Roman Kimball. They could all be starters, so we may let them battle it out for that 5th spot. We'll just have to see what's available in free agency. The draft. Draft history. Our first pick, Peyton Farr, a 17-year-old out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. A long way to go, but looks like he could be pretty good once he's fully developed. We had 3 first-round picks because of compensatory picks. So our second first-round pick was Sergio Fernandez. He is going to be... Did I set him as a two-way player? I sure hope I did. I did not. But he is he's an okay pitcher. Looks like he'll be all right as a pitcher, but he's got some just redonkulous hitting ratings. So he'll be a below-average outfielder and a starting pitcher. Our third first-round pick, Vic Ligon. Same deal. Looks like a pretty good pitcher, but his offensive ratings are where he's going to make hay, as they say. And my guess is I didn't set him as a two-way player either, so I'll do that right now. So a couple of pitchers that have some really solid bats were our first 3 picks. Our second-round pick was Jerry Street, and we went right into the defense. It was not a very good draft outside of the first round, so I went heavy on defense, hoping that we get some sort of random bump with the bat, but Jerry Street just elite defensively. We didn't have a third-round pick. Our fourth-round pick was Doug Kelsey, again, defensively. And our 5th-round pick was Mike Fox, again, a defensive pick. So very happy with the first 3 picks. Even if they don't work out as pitchers, there's a spot for them offensively with the team. Beyond that, it was meh. So decisions for the Twins coming up. If we look at ARB, Anderson can walk. Ohtani, I'll like to bring back. Allen and Woods Richardson are probably gone. And then we have a lot of ARB numbers. Chase Petty wants 8.4. I think that's probably fair. McGowan was in AAA most of the year. He wants 2.4. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably sign him. Ponce will sign. Appleby, yes. Campbell, yes. Kimball, yes. Yeah, Quaystad wants 11.5, so he's going to price himself out here. We'll try to move him. Stanford, yes. Silvis, yes. Gomez, yes. Yeah, so the rest of these guys will bring back. Maybe not Brady House. I don't know if I want to pay 3.5 for the right-handed side of a platoon bat at first base. We'll see. We'll see. But Quaystad is probably gone, and everybody else will likely resign, try to bring back Ohtani as well. If we look at upcoming free agents, a couple of decent starting pitchers, or one decent starting pitcher here, Anthony Urquidy, and he's not even that good at 23 movement. I mean, we'll see what he wants. I mean, he's only making $1.1 million right now, so who knows. But, yeah, not a lot of great starting pitching. Chris Caroline's not terrible. What about offensively? Oh, yeah, not a good, not really all that good a free agent class. So I think we bring back Ohtani. Yeah, not a whole lot here. Bring back Ohtani and see what the Rule 5 holds for us. I think that might be the plan. So it might be a quiet offseason for the defending World Series champion Minnesota Twins. So that is it for that team. Where do we want to go from here? Let's look at the other team that we won it all with. And that was, yes, the Minnesota Vikings. Finally, we win one with the Vikings. So the only team so far that we haven't won the title with is the Wild. So we have 3 titles for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 2 for the Minnesota Twins, and 1 now for the Vikings. So if we come back in here and look, playoffs. So we defeated the Cleveland Browns 41-20 in the Super Bowl. We were down 10-7 after one, and then a 20-point second quarter. put us in the lead 27-10, and we put up 2 more touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and we win 41-20. John Anderson, 31 of 44, 297, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jeffrey Spence, 16 carries, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Clifford, who was our #1 pick this year, Patrick Clifford, first-round pick, 29th overall, 907 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns for the rookie. Jefferson, Robson, Ashley, and Betts continue to be our top 4 receivers. We brought back Ashley, and I'll show you all this stuff in a second. But we did have what's his name retire. Oh God, Myles Garrett. That's the name I'm looking for as my memory starts to fade in my old age. Myles Garrett retired, so we had to do a little bit on the defensive side. But you can see, I mean, 52 points in the NFC title game against the Saints, 29 here, 28 here. So offensively, we were fantastic this year. So if we look at our dashboard, we figured it out defensively. You can see 2nd in points per game allowed, 10th in points per game 4, 6th in yards per game, and 4th in yards per game against. We finished up 11-6. If we look at our team statistics, John Anderson, 4,000 yards passing, but only 22 touchdowns. Had a good rating. His contract is up after this year, so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but that's back-to-back 4,000-yard passing seasons for John Anderson. Only 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It wasn't quite as good a year as last year, but good enough to win the Super Bowl. So I'm certainly not going to complain. Rushing, we talked about Jeffrey Spence. His contract is also up after this season, I believe. Yep. Which is part of the reason we signed Patrick Clifford or drafted Patrick Clifford. And Clifford was phenomenal. If you look at him, first-round pick, 85 speed, 63 hands, 93 agility, and a cheap contract. So 23-year-old out of New Mexico was a stud. Receiving, Justin Jefferson was healthy and had himself another Justin Jefferson season. He's now 31 years old. You can see 1,100 receptions in his career for 12,000 yards and 76 touchdowns. Christopher Robson, his contract is also up. 85 catches, 882 yards. Denver Betts, 74 for 1022. He's had 2 fantastic seasons with us. We did re-sign him for next season, so we're still going to be coming back with Betts and Jefferson next year. And that was really it. I mean, our #4 guy was Micah Davis, who was our 3rd-round pick. He's not all that. He's not particularly good. Yeah, none of our other wide receivers are particularly good. So Jefferson, I mean, with Jefferson and Betts leading the way, we don't need much depth behind them, assuming nobody gets hurt. We are going to have to figure out what we do at tight end. Defensively, Edward Bailey was better this year than he was last year. 142 tackles, 16 tackle for losses, 4 forced fumbles, a sack, a pick, 11 passes defended. One of the best defensive players in the NFL, a tackling machine. J.C. Horn continues to play well, 101 tackles, 4 picks. OMAR Sumner, 17 more sacks this year, and I believe he was voted as the NFL Defensive Player of the Year this year. He's got 120 career sacks in 8 seasons, and he only is getting better. He's up to a 95 overall. Baron Browning, we signed him to a 4-year contract, had 7 sacks, 85 tackles. Roberto Regan got his first real taste. He was our top pick a couple of years ago. This was his first year as a full-time starter, and he was really good, 91 tackles. So Joseph Cochran continues to be a stud. That's how things went defensively. Nothing really special about our special teams. Our kicking game was fine again. Christopher Van, 37 of 44. His long was 56 yards. The draft. I showed you our first-round pick already. Our first-round pick was Patrick Clifford, 86 overall. Our second-round pick, I believe, was a wide receiver. No, was it not? Who was our second-round pick? Who was our site? Was it a... Yeah, okay. This wasn't a great draft. This was not a terrific draft outside of our top pick. Bruce Wyatt was our number 2 pick, 29th overall in the second round, had 3 sacks this year. And he's still young enough, I guess, that, you know, it could turn around for him, but not too thrilled about it right now. Our number 3 pick, Raymond Cano. Who was our number 3 pick? Right there, a tackle, Richard George, 20 overall, or 28 years old, 68 overall. Pass block, run block is below average, so he's got a ways to go. 4th round pick was Danny Katz. Good hands, no speed. Raymond Collins was our 5th round pick. Good speed, no hands. So a couple of misses there. But we needed some depth on the wide receiver side of things. Our number 6 pick was Darius Walker. He's terrible. And Burton was undrafted, and Styles was also undrafted. We signed him to the practice squad, 20 years old, 78 overall fullback. So outside of our 1st round pick, it was not good. Clifford was a great pick. He was a find for us. I'm looking forward to what he brings for the next 4 years. But yeah, it wasn't a great draft. Contract-wise, yeah, we got some big names. We have some big names that are walking. John Anderson, most noticeably, J.C. Horn, Jeffrey Spence, Christopher Robson, Aubrey Ashley, our kicker, and then that's about it. So, yeah, I think, and then a lot of players that we signed to minimum contracts once the year started. So, yeah, what is our need, I guess? So our need, if we start with, I mean, quarterback, we need a quarterback. Whether or not we bring back Anderson or come up with another solution, I don't know. We're going to need backup running back. Spence will be gone. We're going to hang on to Still until his contract expires. He's still pretty damn good. Offensive line, I think we're okay with Sander and Wilhite as our guards. Yeah, we're okay in the offensive line. Parrott got most of the playing time at center, so maybe a backup center, but our offensive line is fine. We're going to need a tight end. We're losing both of our tight ends. Wide receiver, I'm probably not going to touch, just given who our top 2 are. Cornerbacks, I think we're okay. Bush, well, no, we need to bring back Horn. We've got Bush, Robert Ramirez, and Nashawn Wright as our top 3 right now. So Horn is probably going to be a priority to bring back. Linebacker, for the first time in a while, we are in pretty damn good shape. Bailey, Browning, Regan, William Royster. I think we're fine at linebacker. Defensive tackle, we're going to need some help. We're okay with Birch and Hook, I guess, as our starters, so maybe some depth there. Defensive end, we need another defensive end. We have Omar Sumner. I was not expecting Garrett to retire, so we're going to need to pick up a defensive end. Free safety and strong safety, we're fine. So we need, we're going to need to focus on quarterback, running back, tight end, and defensive end. Those, I think, are the 4 major areas that we will need to focus. So we're going to have like $80 million, according to this, in cap space. Anybody here that might be outliving their contract? Yeah, Clayton Meza. Yeah, he's going to go. We're going to get rid of Clayton Meza at 3 years, $10 million. I don't even know where that contract came from. But he will be gone. That may be it, really. James Higgins will probably go to. He had 18 catches for 145 yards. I booked on his speed and hands that he would be better than he was. Better than his overall, but he just wasn't. So yeah, there are a couple of names in here that I think are cut worthy, which will free up some space to allow us to hopefully bring back Anderson, Horn, and Robson, and then we'll kind of see where we stand there, and maybe defensive end is our what we attack in the draft. But we shall see. So that then brings us to our fourth and final team, which is the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild finished 49, 24, and 9. And once again, we got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. This time it was against the St. Louis Blues. As the top seed, we got bounced by the Blues. So, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of young talent, but we had some contract issues. We had some huge contract issues. So we traded I guess at the beginning of the year, we signed Jan Vezina. He was one of those free agents that showed up in free agency once the season ended. Just an absolute stud. Look at those offensive and defensive ratings. We brought in Engstrand and Kuznetsov and Lang, who were 3 of our minor leaguers, or unsigned free agents, I should say. We traded for Simon Forsmark. He was on the trade block, 27-year-old stud defensive player. Gave up Townsend, Crosby, and a couple of firsts. I mean, Forsmark was really good for us, so I'm not too terribly concerned about that. But you'll see here, we turned around and we traded Miro Heiskanen to the Predators and got a first-round pick in return. So basically, we traded Forsmark, got Forsmark in a first and gave up Heiskanen, Townsend, Crosby, and a couple of firsts. It's probably not great, but we needed some contract stuff. We did not re-sign Cole Caulfield. He got injured. I hurt his back or something, and then he dropped to 2.5 star. So we renounced his rights, and he went to Switzerland, I believe that is, right? The SHL. So yeah, not thrilled about that. I think we probably took a step backwards, although Forsmark is 5 years younger than Heiskanen, so we'll see. But Heiskanen to the Predators for a first. We get Forsmark for some players and some picks. We didn't make any moves really in free agency other than that. We did sign some people to some contracts. Jesper Wallstead, we signed him to an extension. Marco Kasper, Quentin Musty. We signed 2 extensions, and I think that's it from a transaction standpoint. If we look at the roster, Philip Ekberg continues to man that top line, 81 points in 82 games last year. Capo Caco, 78 points. Yeah, we were very spread out. Again, just like last year, very spread out point-wise, but nobody that really kind of blew it out of the water. Nobody with 100 points or more or anything like that. Adam Yeko, 70 points in 82 games. That was his best season. Cale Makar continues to play well, 56 points in 69 games. Tanner Howe, 50 points. Kirill Kaprizov it's starting to slip for Kirill. He's up to 34 years old, only 18 goals, 49 points in 76 games. Next year is the last year on his contract. He will probably be gone. So we'll be looking to replace the long-time Minnesota Wild skater. In fact, he may come off the top line next year. We may run Ekberg, Kako, and Yeko on that top line next year. I don't know. Or maybe Howe, because he's a little bit better defensively. I don't know. I'll sort that out. So we have some money for free agency this year, and you can kind of see the rest of the stats. I mean, just a lot of players. What's that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players with more than 10 goals. Kiwi Haru had 9, Engstrand had 8. So a lot of goal scoring for the Minnesota Wild this season, just spread out. Goaltender-wise, we are going to put our eggs in the Jesper Wallstead basket. We're going to let Ivanov walk this year. Wallstead, 35, 20, and 6 with a 2.96 and a 9.07. Ivanov, 14, 3, and 3 with a 2.69 and a 9.17. Actually, we may not let him walk because we don't really have another option at goalie. So that's something that we will have to consider. What does he want? Yeah, I can't pay $14 million for my 2 goalies. So we'll have to see what's available in free agency. There's always a good young free agent out there. Is there anybody else that I have to sign? Mazden Leslie wants to test free agency, which is a bit of a bummer. But we will see how that goes. Obviously, I'd love to bring him back with that 16 offense, but we'll see. So, yeah, backup goalie is going to be obviously a primary focus for us. And then maybe we have a lot of 3-star forwards. I'm thinking, what can we do about bringing in another kind of top 6 forward? Because we've got Ekberg, Kakko, and Yeko, and then Bryant as our second line center. So, yeah, maybe a top 6 forward and a backup goalie. I think that's kind of where the focus is going to be. So, yeah, so that's it. So we win 2 more titles. We win one with the Vikings. We win one with the Twins. So that's 1 title for the Vikings, 2 titles for the Twins, 3 titles for the Timberwolves. That's 6 championships in 10 years. The goal is 12 titles in 18 years. So we have 6 in our first 10. We need 6 more titles in our next 8 seasons. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm having fun playing it. It's giving me something to do in my downtime. While I'm sitting and watching TV, I can just play one of the games until the season's over, and then I move on to another one. So I hope you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying playing it. I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.